welcome everyone. Everyone have the forms? As we get started, let's go around the room and introduce yourself. If you're going on a tour, I want you to give your name. I want you to give your school and your grade so that we know who you are, all right? And if you're gonna start off right, what do we normally do when we do all of that? When we go on the college tours? Did you come to the orientation or you just went on the trip? You just went on the trip? Okay, we stand up. We stand up, introduce ourselves, give our, your name, your school, and also your grade. Let's start here. Yep.
My name's Dan. I go to SLA Beaver and I'm in 10th grade.
What's your last name?
Pratt.
Okay.
Talia, and I go to
Talia, what's your last name?
Here with, I go to Belmont Charter. I'm an
11th
11th grader.
grader? Okay.
Mommy.
Mom? Okay. And student?
My name is Louis. I go to Belmont Charter.
That's our last name.
Last name, Willie.
My name is Louis Williams.
Okay.
I go to Belmont Charter. And I'm 11th grade.
11th grade, okay.
My name is Romero Haynes. I go to Belmont. I'm in 11th grade.
Okay.
My name is Erica Doe. I go to Belmont Charter High School. Yeah, I'm in 11th
11th
grade.
grade, okay. In the back?
My name is Rick Higgins. I go to Abington and I'm in 11th.
11th grade, welcome. First shall be last and the last shall be first, huh? You choose the first one here.
My name is Gabby Royal.
Gabby, look at me. Hi, Gabby.
My name is Gabby Royal. I go to Smyrna High, and I'm in 10th grade.
10th grade, welcome, welcome. Okay, we're gonna have some more people that'll be coming in. So I just wanted to have you to do that and get used to that practice of doing that, because when we visit the different schools, that's what I want you to do. So when we show up there, then we want you to give your name, we want you to give your school, and then also your grade so that people will know who you are. We had a young lady that went to, when we went on a college tour, we went to Virginia Union University, and she stood up, confidently gave her name, her information, and she really fell in love with the school. And once she did that, she was in the 11th grade, just like many of you are in the 11th grade. Later on, she actually, as she turned in all her information and attracted the attention of the admission department, when she got in her senior year, she actually got a full 4-year ride to Virginia Union University, and laptop, academic dorms, everything. Now, she did all the work with school, but she stood out beyond the rest of the students. And later on, I ran into her mother at an Outback Steakhouse, and she said that she had was in her senior year at Virginia Union, and she was Miss Virginia Union, and that coming up, that she was going to be in the what was that, Ebony magazine for all of the campus queens from each HBCU, historically black college and university. So you never know, just by introducing yourself and making a first, we'll say that in a little bit, about getting a chance to make a first impression, okay? Second Antioch Baptist Church Spring College Tour. My name is Dr. Joey Nock. I'm the trip coordinator. A little bit about me. I grew up in this neighborhood. I grew up at 37th and Spring Garden. I went to a couple of schools that are now closed and torn down now. When I was a child, I went to Walnut Center, and then I went to Drew Elementary School, which is over there near 38th and Lancaster and Powelton. They've torn them down. Now you see a lot of apartment buildings there, and University of Pennsylvania, Presbyterian Hospital, all that campus is over there, and they tore down University City High School. But I didn't go to University City High School. I went to Overbrook High School in the Scholars Program. And from there, after I left Overbrook, I went to Norfolk State University. But a little story on that, I met my wife in high school. We went to junior prom together, senior prom together. Then we devised a plan where she was going to go to Norfolk State. She was going on science scholarship, and I was going to Hampton University. But I wanted to play baseball because I was a baseball player in the track at Overbrook. And I got accepted into Hampton, and we were going to just see each other on the weekends because she had an aunt in Hampton. Well, after I got to Hampton and I was looking to see if there was any scholarship for the baseball team, I found out that Hampton didn't have a baseball team. So I was like, what in the world? So therefore, I saw the softball field and I saw the women practicing softball when I came there for my campus visits. I just knew they had a baseball team. Then I found out, some of y'all know Monet Davis. She played softball at Hampton. And so I just assumed, but they didn't. So they were trying to be slick. They were trying to get me to come because I was the anchor to mile relay at Overbrook High School. We were city champs for 13 years in a row. They wanted me just to run track. They didn't tell me that the baseball wasn't there. But I transferred, well, I never transferred because I never started, but I'd already got accepted into Norfolk State because my wife, my girlfriend at the time, had applied. So therefore, I just went to Norfolk State. And from there, I went there. I graduated from Norfolk State, political science, pre-law, on my way to go to law school. God changed that plan. I ended up going to seminary, and I got my master's at Eastern Baptist Theological Seminary. That used to be on City Line Avenue in Lancaster. Now is in part of Eastern University. And then I got my doctorate degree at Palmer. Now, when I was in high school at Overbrook, we had a counselor that had so many kids. We had 600 seniors in our graduating class at Overbrook. Now Overbrook has probably maybe 400 kids in the whole school, but we had 600. So for her being lazy and everything else, not wanting to fill out the different things, she told me that I wasn't college material. Well, as you see, I have a doctorate. So therefore, you can't, if they're not going to do the work for you, you have to do the work and be able to make sure. So this is a great opportunity for you, because back in the day when we used to go to a hotel, banquet hall, and what we would do from there is that we would see all of the different colleges at different tables, and from there, they showed, you know, the only reason I put my application in Norfolk State is because they showed a video of this slamming band. I mean, this band was like 300 kids, young people, and I mean, they were bad. And they were 20 minutes from Virginia Beach. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna put my application in there. Not intended to go, but at least it was a nice school. But a lot of times you really don't get to know a school until you actually step foot on the campus. So that's gonna be one of the things as we look at this, and to be able to see the importance of going on the college tours. Understand this, I am not a magician. When I take you on these college tours, it's not that now that I go on this tour and then I convince people to get you into a school and to give you scholarship. You do the work. From 9th through 11th grade, primarily, maybe some senior, but most of your work from 9th through 11th grade is when you do that work. Now we present that to the schools and you get a chance to get exposure to the admissions department. But most of the decisions that are made now are online. And many of you know about the Common App, right? Everybody know about the Common App? And there's also a fee that you can pay for historically black colleges and universities. I don't know if it's $20 or $50, but if you fill that Common App out for all HBCUs, then it will work across all of the historically black colleges and universities, all right? So sometimes we do traditionally just all historically black colleges and universities. Sometimes we do predominantly white institutions and mix them up. But primarily we always have some historically black colleges in there, but sometimes we just do solely. Sometimes we'll mix it up so that you can see the difference. So I'm not gonna take you to each school and it's gonna be almost the same, so that we'll be able to see the difference in that, okay? So the purpose of the college tour is to expose high school students to the college experience. Some of you will probably lose your minds when you go to somewhere and then you'll go to a cafeteria or something. You'll get in there and it's all you can eat. And then you're saying, oh man, this is great. I want to go to college because I can eat all day long. You go to college and you go there after about 3 or 4 weeks, it gets tired because sometimes you'll see the same food over and over and over again. It was exciting when you had it the first time. But after a while, it's like I done did that. I done done it, you know. It's fried fish on Fridays, you know, soul food Wednesdays, like at Howard University, soul food Thursdays or whatever it is. So fried chicken and macaroni and cheese and all that other different things. But we want to expose you to the college experience, that one, you can go to these campuses to engage with the students, to see whether the people are too bougie, to see whether the people are too laid back and a little, use the word ghetto for you, but you need to experience that. Don't get caught up as we go on the orientations for the schools, because what they understand this is all a business to everybody. And they will always put their best foot forward. And the thing that you have to pay attention to is what they're not telling you about the school. because there are certain schools that are very good with regard to academics, but they're very weak as far as administration. Does anybody know what I'm talking about with that?
Yes.
So therefore, the academics, the professors are out of this world. But then you're waiting for your financial aid to be processed. You're waiting for your, with my housing, we overcrowded. I never spent a day in a dorm at Norfolk State because I was an athlete. They put me in hotels because it was overcrowded for boys. They always want to take care of the girls. They always want to make sure the girls had, on-campus housing and everything. So I stayed at a hotel that was maybe about 1.5 miles from the school. And if I missed the bus to get there, then I had to walk to school in the morning, okay? So a lot of times they don't tell you those type of things to say that there's overcrowding. One of the obstacles that you guys are going to have right now is because how many of you know about affirmative action, right? So now here's the new thing that they've come down. A lot of people have come to the point of saying that affirmative action is not needed. You need to be able to qualify based on your grades and all of the things, test scores and all of the different things. That way, instead of being using race as a factor in you getting into a particular college. Some of the white colleges, they would use race because they wanted a diverse population on their campus and demographics on their campus. So therefore, they would set aside maybe 13% or 20% of their campus, whether it be of people of color. Now, because Chinese, they actually use Chinese people to do it because the whites want to be cowardly about the situation. So that they use the Chinese students to be able to say that we had these grades at Harvard, using Harvard as an example. And they're saying we got bumped out because some black kids, we didn't have as great as grades as we did, and because they wanted to fill these quotas, then we didn't get in, even though we qualified. So it's very important that you understand what's going on. Now, what that is done is a good thing and a bad thing for historically black colleges and universities. When we used to go on college tours, they rolled out the red carpet for us, because they needed to fill their slots because people were going, like we're going to go to Georgetown and we're going to go to University of Maryland, Baltimore County and stuff like that. So they rolled out the red carpet to us because they wanted to get their numbers. Now blacks are getting record numbers. Historically black colleges are getting record numbers of applications because some of them don't feel welcome because of the climate that we have from the former president and the like. So with that in mind, they said, well, I'm not going to deal with that situation. One of my daughters went to Temple University. When they first built Morgan Hall on Broad Street, they put bananas on the door handles of all the black students and called them monkeys and apes. Okay, now that's in Philly. So you can only imagine what they was doing down south and other places, with regard to the different things. I've experienced for myself, remember I said I got my master's from Eastern Baptist Theological Seminary? At one point, it was only like 5%, 10% African Americans in the seminary. And because of that, based on my name and some of the papers that I wrote, some of the grades that I got, and I'd had other friends that were another color, they got an A, I got a C, just because of who I am. So when we talk about sometimes you gotta work twice as hard to do something, it's real. It's not fictitious. And the like. So some of y'all just think, all I gotta do is show up and I gotta do the same thing they get the same thing you got. Not necessarily. Sometimes you got good professors and sometimes you have people that are already biased against you. I currently serve as the chair of the Netter Center for Community Advisory Board, and we've had issues with regard to certain professors in law schools at Penn where they said that blacks and Asians shouldn't be in the law school because they're not bright enough and they're only there because they're minorities. Okay? So if that's happening at Penn, you can only imagine where it's happening in other places. Okay? So expose you to the college experience. Establish relationship with admission departments. And that's what we'll do. We'll be going to the admission departments and we'll be seeing them and then obtain scholarships. What's the difference between a scholarship and a student loan? Don't say anything. Because we got a whole lot of student loan people in here, we adults. Somebody raise their hand? Yes. What's the difference?
A scholarship, the money is like given to you that you don't have to pay back. But with a student loan, you have to pay back.
Absolutely. And student loans are the original gangsters. You can file for bankruptcy. you know, and all the different things that are going on out here now. And you see the devil in the detail where you have people that never went to college that are now saying that the fact that we shouldn't get our student loans get wiped out after a certain period of time. If I've been paying my student loan and I've been paying that for 25, 30 years and it seems like it's not disappearing. Come on, I paid, really, technically by interest, I paid that thing off two times over, right? But at the same time, people will be like, no, you made the loan, you gotta keep it. Notice these are people that never went to college. Or there are other people that say, well, I had to work a second job and everything else like that. That's fine, praise God, you're able to do that. But then there's other people that understand this. Because of the skin color that you have, that sometimes you get an undergraduate degree and you only make a couple of $1,000s more than a white person that never went to college at all. And you got student loans to go along with that. Ouch. Right? And then they be like, well, get over it. Now I'm blessed because when I went, and I ain't gonna talk about the year, but college was only like $3,000 to $5,000 a year.
Wow.
Right? Can y'all imagine that? Come on, now we have students that are with hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of student loans that they're gonna have to pay back over the duration of their life. And because of that, now you're seeing, if you're noticing, you're seeing young people are having children later on in life. They're getting houses later on in life, if they're getting houses, okay? And so there's so many challenges there. One of my daughters, the one that went to Temple, she went to Fox School, she graduated Fox School of Business, her and her husband, okay? And they tried to buy a house. They were crying to me. They applied for 35 houses and got outbid in every house. So if let's say the house was $200,000, everybody was bidding $250,000, $275,000 to get the house. They could only afford the two. They couldn't afford the other thing. So with that, I told them, I said, God is going to have to do an unconventional thing for you in order to get what you got. And sure enough, what happened is they were able to get a house that wasn't even on the market, that a neighbor or a friend knew about it. They said, listen, the parents died there, their son has the house, he's trying to get rid of it. Talk to him and see if he can get it before it go out on the market. Because if it went out on the market, they would have never got it. Okay? So sometimes things have to be done in an unconventional way. So attain scholarships, because that's the important key. That's the key. Then if the school doesn't give you the scholarship, what you got to understand is you got to think outside of the box. And there are many websites that you can go to where you can write letters and and fill out applications. And sometimes if it's $35,000, sometimes you got to put together about 10 or 12 scholarships to put them together to get it. You can go to the Deltas. Come on, you can go to the AKAs. Come on, Alphas, and put them all together. Even if they're only given $3,000 to $5,000 each, put them all together. Write those letters. Get it in. Then the Bill Gates scholarships and stuff like that nobody applies for and all the things. You know they give scholarships for being left-handed? They give scholarships for being a twin. Okay, but you gotta do the work to write it and put it in and stop being lazy. I want this, I want that. Look, put it all together, and then with that scholarship money, you won't have to pay it back in student loans. And I think, if I'm correct, Elisa, the first year, your parents have to pay anyway. You can't even get loans the first year on your own.
They usually don't give them to
Right,
students.
right,
You
give them
have
to
to
students.
declare yourself independent.
Right, unless you-
Or you
right.
might be in the foster care system
Right.
or something like that. That's a different
Right.
situation.
Right.
But most of the time, no.
Right.
They need the parents' information to
Right.
process the FAFSA.
So unless you emancipate yourself, then you can't do it. The parents have to do it. All right? Good answer to that. Okay. Early admission. Why is it important that you get in early?
So when getting closer to around that time,
Yes.
it's gonna be hard to get in since so many people are trying to get at the same time.
So you get ahead of the game. Then also, you talk about, because a lot of you that are juniors, this is the perfect time for you to be going in the springtime. Because once you finish in June, then you're getting ready for September. Then also the money is there in the fall. For any scholarship, it totally renews, all the money is there, so it's advantageous for you to be able to get in when it's in the fall, or as early as possible. It helps you with housing, right? It also helps you to make sure that you already have determined with regard to not only scholarship, but you already are setting yourself up for, if there are other summer programs or the like that you can go through so that you can earn some extra credits before you get there. Wouldn't it be great if some of you got into schools and you already had your first freshman year already, all the credits are done? That's gonna save you a lot of money. My youngest daughter, she graduated a semester early. You don't know what that feels like for a parent to graduate a semester early. So actually, she didn't walk, but she finished in December, but she didn't walk till May. But at the same time, I didn't have to pay for room and board. I didn't have to pay tuition. I didn't have to pay, she was done. She didn't drop any classes. She took summer school. Y'all do know about summer school, okay? Earn all of that. Be on the hustle, be on the grind about that so you don't have to pay it back. Because later on in life, you know, you'll be like me. I'm 56 years old and I'm still paying student loans. Now I'm blessed that because I'm a pastor, I'm enrolled in a program that after 10 years of paying my student loans, because I, you know, work at a nonprofit, then they'll just sweep them away and wipe them off, okay? But that didn't have nothing to do with my master's, and that didn't have anything to do with my undergrad that weren't federal loans, okay? So it's very important that we understand that. Early admission, get in as early as possible, okay?
Pastor Nock, can I
Yes,
add something?
yes.
So I would also say to the parents, if you're not sure of what that particular university offers, call their financial aid office, because sometimes the individual universities have special, unique scholarships to their university that maybe the financial aid counselor knows about and maybe you qualify for. So being like open to just talking with the financial aid folks. I know the lady at Temple, she'll tell me stories about how families that have a ton of money in the bank will be the ones calling them all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And they can see that they have money because they had to fill out the FAFSA, and you have to report how much money you have. So families with $100,000 in the savings account will be the ones calling, trying to get every scholarship they can and trying to lower the fees. But families who might not know all that information aren't calling and aren't meeting with them. And so if you're interested, you want to know about that particular school and see if they have a scholarship that's relevant to your student, don't be afraid to be kind of forceful and meet with the financial aid counselors. And just, Temple does have the Cecil B. Moore Scholarship, which is a 4-year scholarship, and it covers everything for 4 years. So depending upon what zip code you live in, you could qualify for that. And they also offer a little like you go to Temple, take a few classes. I'm not sure if they changed that part of it yet. But depending on the university, you know, they might have special scholarships just for, you know, local students or something like that. So don't be afraid to be, you know, a little aggressive with the financial aid office and meet with them as much as you can. And the FAFSA does not mean that you have to pay something. It doesn't necessarily mean that.
Yes.
It means they need to look at your information to see how much money your child is going to qualify to be available for in terms of scholarship or grant support or loans.
Yes. And then some of your parents may have more than one child in college at the same time.
Yeah. that'll
And
help.
so they weigh all of those, that's why you have to fill out the FAFSA. You're not gonna get any student loans without doing the FAFSA form. And they've been bouncing it around. When years ago, about 10 years ago, it used to be Valentine's Day. Then it moved to October. Now it's moved to December, January, right, where they moved the FAFSA. So that means that when you get your income tax information and all that stuff, you turn it in to the system, and then that helps you with regard to the schools to know whether you qualify for things. And also, one of the things that is rough is that, like my wife and I, we were both college graduates, okay? And with that in mind, when you have kids in school, they're trying to tell you that you can afford something and you barely paying all your bills. And you like, seriously? Okay, that's nice for here, but how about all the student loans and stuff that I'm paying back? So it's all important that you do that and make sure that you take care of it. Morgan State University, we'll be visiting Morgan State. They have a brand new facility. Morgan State is popping right now, for real. And what they're doing is they've been growing to the point where I think it's next 2 or 3 years they're going to have a medical school at Morgan State. And so they're one of the HBCUs that's really growing in Baltimore area. And literally they're expanding. They're buying other universities that are failing in Baltimore and having another campus. And so they have shuttle buses that go from there. So this is and you'll see a lot of young people, students that are going from Philadelphia to Morgan State. Now, one of the things that I will say to you, the challenge with Maryland schools and also in Pennsylvania schools is their Pell Grants do not align. So therefore, there are certain scholarship fund or monies that are not going to be available because you're coming from Pennsylvania and going to Maryland. So that means that, for example, remember my daughter that I talked about went to Temple. She really wanted to go to Towson University. She had a 4.0 GPA, finished second or third in her class, and you know, National Honor Society and everything, and they offered her zero money. Zero. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I tell my children to do the best they can to earn scholarships and do all of this, and now you're saying she gets nothing. Please. So she cried. We went to visit the campus and everything else, but guess what? I can't afford $45,000 a year. I can't. So therefore, she went to Temple. Temple gave her money. Right? Graduated a great degree in business. She works and now in HR for Comcast. Hey, I get mad at her. I'm trying to find out how I can get her rate, you know, her cable rate from my house, you know? Girlfriend, she get the triple play for $45. I'm like, yo, how about your dad? Is there a family plan on that or something? So when we go to Morgan State, they'll put us in this room. They give you the backpacks, they give you the pens, they give you all that stuff. They got these signs up here that show some nice videos. Oh man, you'll be so hyped. Everybody in this room is gonna want to go to Morgan State. Ah, I just love it. Okay, you just fall in love with the blue and orange, okay? Our first black mayor of Philadelphia, Wilson Good, graduated from Morgan State University, okay? So when we look at this, they'll give you the dog and pony show, as I call it. Oh, you'll be falling in love, you know, and everything else. But understand, every presentation, listen to what they're saying and listen to what they're not saying.
Yeah.
When you go there, know what you want to do in life. Don't go and give the crackhead answers that I see from too many people. And forgive me for saying it, but I say that everybody must be a doctor, lawyer, accountant, engineer, and all that other stuff. There are so many majors out here and so many careers that you can do besides those, you know, entrepreneurship. You can do so many different technical things that are out there and majors that you can do and that can make you a lot of money, but at the same time not being with me, I said I wanted to go to law school, so I figured if I had to go to law school, I had to be political science, pre-law. You don't. You could have been an English major, history major. All of the different things that you can do to be able to do something that you love. And I'm blessed. You're looking at a person that, because I was never a person that wanted to be in an office space. Now I've worked in corporate America. I've worked for Cigna. I've worked for General Accident Insurance Company. I've worked for a lot of Fortune 500 companies, sitting at a desk, and I was miserable. Sitting in a cubicle in offices and stuff. I was one of the people that I would rather be out in the street, getting in with the action and being active and things like that. And now I'm a pastor. So I have something that not only is a calling, but it's more of a career than just a job, a 9 to 5. True, there's many times that I may work a whole month and without a day off. But when you're doing something that you love, you don't feel it. Because it's like, this is what you want to do. Instead of being miserable, when I used to get on the trolley and I used to people watch people. And they were just like, anybody remember Zootopia? You see people just walking like this? And you're seeing people that are just robotic. They're just doing it because they have to do something to pay their bills and stuff. Instead of that, find something that you're passionate about, that you love, and be able to do that and then find value in that instead of just getting something that's just going to pay the bills or picking a major. I'm glad I didn't become an attorney because I was a paralegal for 10 years. And I did attorney's work and everything else. And I'm so glad I didn't spend that student loan money to go to law school, and then I'd have been miserable and only doing it because of the fact that I have to pay my student loans back. Yes.
I was just going to share, I was an art major in undergrad, so that was a very brave thing to be.
Yes, absolutely.
Because everybody said, what are you going to do with that? But I've actually done a lot with it.
Absolutely.
I was a painting and printmaking major, and luckily my family was very supportive.
Right.
My dad went to the same HBCU as Pastor Nock, Norfolk State. My dad was an art major at Norfolk State. And so it's what I was really good at and what I really liked. And so I was able to get opportunities. I still get opportunities as an artist, although I work as an educator and do other things too. The degree has been really helpful to me. And so it wasn't many people who looked like me though majoring in that. Everybody felt the pressure to become, you know, an accountant or a doctor, but they were miserable. A lot of my friends were miserable in those majors. So it's not that you might love numbers, you might want to be an accountant, that's great.
Right.
But do what you love so you're not wasting your money in college.
Absolutely.
And that's, so I agree with Pastor Nock on that.
Absolutely.
And then I went on, I did some graduate degrees in African American studies, so I was passionate about that, and then I went on to do a degree in education. I went to state schools, VCU, I went to, which is like Temple, and then I went to Indiana University of Bloomington, and then I went to Harvard for my last degree. And one thing that I learned is that you want to advocate for yourself. So I didn't get money the way I wanted to when I first got into Harvard. I called the office up and I said, I really want to come here, but I'm not paying that amount of money for this degree. And somehow the message got sent up to the department, and the next week I had a scholarship. So had I not called and reached out and just expressed myself, I wouldn't have gotten that, you know. So don't be afraid to kind of advocate for yourself respectfully.
Yes.
And see how it turns out.
I'm going to share a story with you. My when I was 16 years old, my mom, I'm a twin. I'm the youngest of the twin, and I have an older sister. When I was 16 years old, my mother said, I'm pregnant. And we looked at her like, you done lost your mind. That's just nasty. Because my older sister was 17, going to be 18, and we're 16, right? So then she had our little brother. So my sister had already got accepted in college to go to Howard University, and so she was going there. She was a fine arts major, okay? So she went there, and you know, that was when Fame, the movie Fame was big. And everybody, you know, I want to live forever. Everybody wants to be a fine arts major. So she went to Howard, the Mecca. That's the place that you would go. Debbie Allen and her sister, Felicia Rashad, okay? And so she was on her way. So she took off a half a semester to help my mother because my sister graduated from Girls High, class 227. And so she took the first semester off, and then didn't start to the spring, so she could help my mother, you know, old head, with this little baby. So she goes to school. Then, of course, a year and a half later, I go to college, and so I go to college, and I was always this type of person. I was cheap. I want to fail anything that I had to pay for. And I want to say this to all of you to listen up when you get to college. Every class you're not going to get an A. But as long as you see your way through, that'll catch you when you get home. Okay? So that don't mean that you get all C's, but you know, but C is better than failing. Can I get a witness? And so sometimes you gotta have a meeting with the teacher, professor, and say, what can we do to negotiate this thing and get this done? You know what I'm saying? This is statistics. I'm poli-sci. Hook me up. What assignments I gotta do? You know. But guess what? So I get to my last semester, senior year. And because I never dropped a class, and you know, took everything that they had me to do, I only had 2 classes left. I called my mom on the phone. I said, "Hey, Mom, I need you to. Could you do me a favor?" She said, "What do you want for your birthday?" I said, "It was in April." I said, "I want a class ring, a graduating ring." She said, "You can't be graduating." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Because your sister is not graduating. She's not ready to graduate yet." Girlfriend went to Howard and was living the life, y'all. If y'all know what I'm saying. She was living the life. You know, sometimes she was like Haley Comet when it was coming to classes. When she showed up, it was spectacular. But then sometimes she wasn't even in school, enrolled that semester. So I'm just letting you know that you got to be focused. My mom had 3 kids in college. We had to work a part-time job to be able to pay so you could eat and everything else. But you make it happen. You do what you have to do. Remember the great line of the great debaters? Do what you have to do and get able to do what you want to do in life. So plug along in life when you go to college and everything else so you can do what you want to do later on. So here's the conduct and dress code. Chaperones will be provided. Now, we have some people that are going to be volunteers as chaperones. We have in the back, we have the life of the party, Sister Christina. Locked down. Woo, woo. All right. She's a police officer. Okay, and intelligence for, did I say that right? Intelligence
Criminal
unit?
intelligence.
Criminal intelligence. Not the innocent intelligence, the criminal intelligence for the police department. She's gonna be going on the trip. She's the pushover of the group, but she does carry handcuffs, okay? Myself, I used to work for the school district of Philadelphia. Like we talk about, when you get a certain degree, sometimes you end up in places that you have no idea why you work in this stuff. So I was a parent coordinator for West Philadelphia and Southwest. That meant anytime parents had complaints and anything in the school district, before it went down to 440, they called me first and they see if I can resolve the issue. I love that because I want to help people with problems in their life. So I will be a chaperone. We're start working with a mentoring ministry, so I do have my criminal, my fingerprint, what is it? Background check, child abuse clearances and all of that other stuff. So I got my papers if you want to look at them. But I've had that the whole time. So I said, I've been doing this 25 years and we haven't had any problems with that. We have another person, Deacon Berrien, who's not here today. He's a retired school teacher, music teacher, and he's the chairman of our deacons ministry here. He goes on the trip. Sometimes in the spring, we have another young lady from our from our church that's a school psychologist. And so she's a young lady, and so she sometimes volunteers and goes. And then, of course, we let parents go. So if parents want to go, they look at Pastor Nock, you're talking too much, got shady, whatever, you're more than welcome to go. I'm not going to give you a scholarship to go, but you're more welcome to go and watch your kids. There's no opposite sex room visitation. Anybody have a problem with that? Okay, want to make a positive first impression? That means that when we go to certain schools, when we talk about dress and being casual and the like, you can do that. Dress is casual, but remember you're interviewing for possible placement. There have been some times that we've gone to the different universities. Where, one time we went to Bowie State, we ran into the president of Bowie State. She was coming out of a conference as we were wrapping up our college tour, and she talked to us. She noticed that some of the kids were wearing different gear from Philly and stuff like that, and so at some point she had worked in the Philadelphia area. She knows all about D'Alessandro's and all the other cheesesteak places and stuff, and she had a great conversation with it. That's rare that you will run into a college president of a school. But you don't want to be walking around with bonnets on your head, pajamas, and all of these different things, and thinking you're just trying to fit in, do-rags on your head. Everybody loves wearing hoodies, young man. Y'all all trying to look like Jedi and stuff like that. But when you're going on there, be yourself, but at the same time, when you're going to make an impression, make a positive impression for placement. See? Look, we got the face mask on, we got the hoodies on and everything. This is Howard's campus, famous library in the background on the yard. HU, you know. So, kids are having a good time, right? And so we take them on the trip. We do what we got to do. We run into different people. One of the pictures I left off of here is we ran into Felicia Rashad. She was coming out. She was waiting for an Uber. And I went, can I take a picture with you? This is her last year being the dean of the School of Fine Arts. They changed the name to Chadwick Boseman School of Fine Arts. And so we actually ran into her. She was a very gracious woman. Because the kids were freaking out. They were so happy to meet her. And she could have been like, get away from me, get away from me. She took a picture with everybody. And we had a great time when we were on the trip. No cursing, y'all.
No cursing.
Y'all don't look like y'all cursers, but I don't know. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Why do I say that? Over the years, in the 25 years, I'm starting to run into some interesting things. We just came back from our fall college tour. And we went to North Carolina. We went to A&T, we went to Shaw, we went to Duke, and North Carolina Central. We left at like midnight to go down to North Carolina. Well, how come we met at the church about 11 o'clock and some of the kids were smelling like weed getting ready to get on the bus? So I just let them know. I said, you're about to go to North Carolina. So they don't do recreational marijuana there. and all of that other stuff. And Pastor Nock is not paying for the room to be fumigated if you're trying to light up in the rooms and everything else. So whatever it is, I think it's $250 fee that, you know, if they smell that in your rooms, then your parents will be paying that bill. I'm not paying that bill. Amen, lights. All right? So don't try to go to, like they said to me when I went to Norfolk State, don't come to paint the town. The town's been painted already. All right? So all of that stuff, you know, go sober. Treat this like a retreat, a wellness retreat. For the 3 days. But drug, or get them, what they call them, gummies or whatever. Look, I don't even want to hear about it. Okay? But no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while you're on there. Why did you put that years ago? I would have never had, 25 years, I would never had to put it on there. But nowadays, you better put it in here as a disclaimer. No inappropriate behavior on the motor coach. One of the things that I'll find out is not with this group right here, but later on is we have different schools, because right now we don't have any young people from Motivation High School. I serve on the SAC chair at Motivation High School. So when Motivation will come, then they'll have, and on the same day, they'll have a boy registered, then a girl will register. Then all of a sudden, we get on the trip, then they like ebony and ivory, inseparable. Come on. And all of a sudden, you know, because they know that there's no co-ed room visitation and the like, then they try to get on the bus with a blanket. You know what I'm saying? And all this other stuff. We always play videos on the bus, and you know, and y'all know they don't make DVDs anymore anyway. So you know all my stuff is old. But at the same time, it keeps the light on the bus, and we do our passes back and forth. You ain't sitting on nobody's lap. You know, you're not being inappropriate with all these other type of things. You want to, you know, have your little love connections and all that stuff, do that some other time. This is not the time that you pick this trip, because now you can be with your boo in a hotel and everything else like that. It's not going to work. Matter of fact, this time I've actually hired an additional person. His name is Byron White, and he works as a supervisor for Penn ambassadors, who are the people that, you know, walk the Penn students back and forth and security for there. Well, I'm paying him just to go on this trip. So he knows how to deal with young people. He's got all his clearances and stuff like that. And once we say curfew means for y'all, when it's 11 o'clock and we go to your room, we look in your room to make sure nobody hiding in the showers, in the bathrooms, underneath the beds and all that other stuff. Make sure all the boys are where they're supposed to be, the girls are supposed to be where they are. Then we say stay there until 6 o'clock in the morning. That don't mean the other last time in the North Carolina trip, all right? Some parents said, I've been trying to reach my daughter, she won't do me. I'm like, really, bro? You calling me at 1:30 in the morning? Okay, all right. I go out and I see one of the kids. I'm like, really? Pastor Nock, I had to go to the ice machine. Yeah, okay. Once you're in your room, that's when you're in your room. We don't know when people are human trafficking and all this other type of stuff. You don't prop your door open, you know, with the little latch and stuff like that, so because you know your girlfriend's about to come back in there. There could be somebody across the hall would come in there and do anything to you.
And they have people living in the hotel.
Right, yeah, so some homeless people live in hotels. Sometimes they have contractors that are staying there because they're working on a building, and all the people aren't screened. So that's why we ask you to do what you need to do. If you want to be with your boo down there in the breakfast room. Play your Uno cards and all do the things, and or sometimes if you have to be a conference room, we'll do that for you. But that's the time when y'all can be together. We want y'all to have fun, but at the same time, you got to follow the rules. If you have problems with following the rules at school, don't come on the trip, because you'll be the same way. You must be punctual. What does punctual mean? What's punctual? I want to hear the young people tell me. What does punctual mean? The word punctual. It's not an SAT word. Do y'all know?
On time.
On time. Right? So so what happens is, if we're 15 minutes late for any of these schools, they have the right to cancel the tour. They'll let us walk on campus, but they'll give us a map, and you'll do a self-guided tour. The reason why I have Elisa here today, she works at the Please Touch Museum, we work together, but she also worked in admissions at Temple University. So you notice how she was speaking and she's saying certain things with kind of authority and everything else like that? I wanted her to come to help you all get that reality. Because one of the things that I've learned with freshmen that they don't understand, either you do it the right way where you get the education, or this will be the most expensive party you ever extended. because they ain't letting you come back in the sophomore year. So enjoy your party in the freshman year, but you're not coming back. But you didn't come here to waste your mother's money, your father's money, or people's scholarship money. You come here because you want to better yourself. That's the reason why people are afraid of you young people. They are afraid of African Americans that are in college. You know why? Because once you get a degree, you can be somebody, and then you have credentials to be able to elevate yourself and do great work. So what they try to do is short circuit you, have you to forfeit your potential. So don't do it to yourself. They're already going to try to set stuff up. But when you come to the table with the credentials, they have to open up the doors and let you come in. They know it was there. Look, you had an African American president, Barack Obama, and his wife both went to Ivy League schools. And they looked at them the whole time they was in the White House to see if they were going to be ghetto or not. And trust me, they could have been, because they came from the south side of Chicago. If you've ever been there. But they were exemplary the whole time. So being on time. Sometimes being on time means being early. These are examples of the type of buses we have. Delaware Express. Delaware Express does all the buses for Delaware State University, University of Delaware, and the like. Nice buses have, great they have bathrooms in there. Like I said, the TV, they even have Wi-Fi, and they have plugs where you can plug up your devices so that you can charge them when you get back on the bus. All right, real quick, we're going to go to itinerary. Now this may change, okay? Leave Second Antioch at 8 a.m. First schools we'll be going to is Cheney and Lincoln, okay? So we arrive at Cheney around 9 o'clock. We have a tour and lunch. Then we leave Cheney, 12:30, arrive to Lincoln at 1:30. Of course, quicker than that. It's not that far away. We'll do a tour, then we'll leave Lincoln University, and then we'll go to the mall, and we'll have dinner. Now, we'll do the mall in Maryland, and it's somewhere around Towson area. It's Maryland Lives. It's in Arundel Mills. Okay, Arundel Mills, so we'll be going there. We go to the mall right there. They have a nice food court there. We'll give you money for going to the food court and the like. Then we'll go to the hotel and arrive about 8 o'clock. Tuesday, we have breakfast and leave the hotel. Go to Morgan State University. We'll have a tour. We'll leave Morgan State at 12 o'clock. We'll arrive at University of Maryland, Baltimore County. UMBC is their Scholars College of the University of Maryland school systems. This is the scholarship. They have a program there, and I'm going to see if I can get permission to come. They have what they call the Meyerhoff Scholars. And the Meyerhoff Scholars are an elite group of people that are African American. They've been on CBS and the like with regard to the program that they have there, where most of their kids go to have doctorate degrees. Okay, we'll leave Maryland, Baltimore County. We'll go again to Arundel Mills, same neighborhood, dinner, and then we'll go to the hotel. Okay? Last day, we'll have breakfast at the hotel. Okay, we'll go to arrive at Howard University at 10 a.m. We'll have a tour at 10 a.m. We'll leave at around 1 o'clock because a lot of people always like to go to the bookstore at Howard and get gear and all that other type of stuff. So we add another hour on there because Howard is like in the middle of a city. And then, Lord have mercy, you better have your walking shoes and be in shape because they got some hills at Howard that you just look up there from the engineering building going all the way up to, to the admission thing, and you see Jesus 3 times going up that hill. Four times. That hill is no joke. That hill is no joke.
It's a mountain. It's not a hill. It's a mountain.
Yeah. So we'll leave Howard at 1, get over to Georgetown by 2. Actually, it's only a half an hour. But if anybody know about DC traffic and everything, I'll tell you a quick story. We went from Howard University to Georgetown one year, and we went to Spain. Don't laugh at me. You think I'm lying. I'm telling the truth. Because guess what? We went down the wrong street, and we got stuck in a no outlet and had to go into Spain's embassy and make a U-turn with the bus. So that means that whenever you go to an embassy, it's the same as being in the country. Isn't that right? So they all came out with their machine guns and everything. And they look. Then they saw a bunch of black kids on the bus. They just put their things down and said, "Look, come on back. But DC is so weird that one time we were going to George Washington University. It said we're there, and we were in the middle of nowhere. You know, because of the GPSs, they've kind of fixed it now. But it's a lot of turnabouts, roundabouts, and everything else like that. But we'll go to Georgetown. We'll take a tour. Now, I will contact Georgetown to see whether their prices have dropped with regard to eating dinner there. But if not, we're gonna, unless somebody blesses me with like a lot of extra money for the trip, because Georgetown has one of the best cafeterias in the nation. Okay, Sullivan Hall. See, I can't even forget the name. One time we went there, it was, back in those days, it was $22 to get in there. They had salmon, they had a pasta bar. Come on, they had 2 floors. They had down on the bottom floor was all of the junk food stuff, like the pizzas and all that stuff. But upstairs it was almost like the filet mignon and the asparagus and everything else like that. And I'm sitting there like, Lord, have mercy. But it was 22 back then, so I know they be talking about, well, if you want to come and visit, it's $30. I'd be like, well, we're going to go to the mall on the way home. Come on, and y'all go to Chick-fil-A. All right? But we'll see. We'll see. See if the Lord blesses it or not. And then we'll come back and arrive around 9 o'clock. Okay? And that will be the trip. That'll be the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of spring break for some of you that from before Easter. Okay? That's the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That's the 25th through the 27th. Any questions about the itinerary? Forms to be completed. All of you fill out the bottom form. The first form on the sheet. At the bottom of it is where for the scholarship. So if you write your name on the bottom part of that, we're going to tear that off on page number 1 to be entered into the raffle for the scholarship. So make sure that you put your name on it. If you know already somebody that wants to be your roommate, then you can put that on there. If not, I'll tell you about something else that we're going to be doing in just a little bit. Okay. All right. So accommodations. What we do is we only put 2 young people in the room, unless they want 3 or something like that. Okay? Because what we do is we get 2 double beds, queen beds, full beds. So one child goes in one bed, the other young person goes in the other bed. But that's what we do. We just put 2. So you're paying for 2. If you get more than there, you don't get a discount. That's your decision on because you don't know anybody in your room. So we only put 2 in a room. When I first was going on a college tour, I was a youth pastor at another church, and it was the Presbyterians were doing this college tour. And that's when I started doing it 25 years ago. They were putting 4 kids in a room, and they were putting strangers in the same bed with one another. And I said, nah, we don't do that. So 2 in a room. So what do students pack? If it's for 3 days, you don't come with a suitcase big as this thick podium. Okay? You only get a chance to change your clothes 2 times, maybe another extra pair of clothes. We will not have any opportunity for you to change clothes. It's like a fashion show in between different schools. Okay? So also make sure that you don't pack any of your medications or anything underneath the bus. Make sure that you have it all together. There's a $50 non-refundable transfer or non-transferable deposit, okay? Because of the fact that what happens is if you put your $50 down, that means that you're going. If we give you a free trip, you still have to pay the $50 deposit. Everybody listening to this? If you win the scholarship, you still have to pay the $50 deposit. But what I do is, when you show up the day of the trip, I give you your $50 back. Because what we've seen with different schools and with the Belmont school is that Belmont sponsored 10 kids to go on my tour last spring. And 1 kid didn't even show up. So that meant they wasted $300 where a kid just blew off the trip. So that's on Belmont. But if I'm paying for it, then you have to come, and then the day of the trip, then I'll give you $50 cash back, and you can use it for spending money, whatever you want to use it for. I don't care, but that's just a guarantee, because when you got skin in the game, that means you're probably going to show up. Does that make sense? Everybody understand that? Okay? So $50 and non-refundable. Then when I say non-transferable, because what somebody will say is, okay, I'm not going on a trip, but Pastor Nock, use my $50 that I use for deposit for Sally's trip and absorb it there. No. Once you give your 50, that's when I reserve the bus, that's when I reserve the hotel rooms, and making sure I have enough reservations for your food for each place. Okay? So that means that when you get a $50 deposit, that means you're going on the trip. Okay? Everybody understand that? Huh? See what I mean? This the type of rooms. So sometimes we go to Hampton Inns, sometimes we'll go to Best Western, we're Comfort Inns and different things in that area. We don't go on the top level hotels and everything else because we can't afford that, okay? But we don't put you at Motel 6. We don't leave the light on so you can't see the roaches and all that other stuff. We put you in a quality hotel where usually in some places, in certain hotels, they'll have a refrigerator, microwave, and different things. But all the towels and all that stuff is included. We just put you in quality clean rooms. Okay, let me close it down. Deadline for payments is March the 10th to go on the trip. March the 10th. And then what we do is actually on Saturday, March the 9th, we will come back here together. And we'll wrap up, we'll have a pizza fellowship that's included. I go out of my pocket for the pizza fellowship. And then what we do is the purpose of the pizza fellowship is if you have somebody that's going on this trip but doesn't know anyone else, and that's the day that I get everybody's name to assign them to a room, okay? So therefore you can look around the room and see who you want to be with and the like. And from there, then I will make their rooming assignments because I have to turn them in about 2 weeks before to the hotel so that they can make sure when we show up that we take care of that, okay? So that's why we do the pizza fellowship. We do a brief orientation, not for the people like you that came, because there are always going to be people who got last minute questions and everything else, okay? Trip scholarships. Again, we're doing a free trip today for one male and one female. Gifts and prizes during the tour. What we do is some people will give me, members of the church or people that used to have gone on the trip, they'll give you like $25 gift cards to best male and best female that are on the trip. They ask the questions most cooperative or stood out above other people. Sometimes we'll get gift cards from Chick-fil-A, Foot Locker, and other different places that, or other places that we give out as gifts because we ask different questions, okay? So I have a game because we're gonna be on the HBCU's trip that has asked questions about different campuses and different things, like who is the largest HBCU? And get answers and stuff like that. So we'll play different games as we go on the trip and give out different prizes. Now, I meant to, but I forgot this morning because I had to get up so early. I do not reward bad behavior, okay? So on the last trip, you remember that we were having some problems. So I have $85 right now worth of gifts for North Carolina A&T. So I've got t-shirts, I've got backpacks and lanyards and stuff that I said, look, y'all out of pocket, I'm not giving that to y'all. So I meant to bring it today and I would have just handed it out to you guys. So maybe I'll bring that for the pizza fellowship and I'll give that to you. But I do not give it to people that all of a sudden, too many people want to go on the trip. We had some people, when we talk about trip scholarships, they said they couldn't afford to pay to go on the trip. So I gave them some scholarship money, I'm not gonna say how much. And then when they went on the trip and we went to the mall, they spent twice what the trip cost. Wow. Going to Best Buy and getting the headphones and all, ladies running a Victoria's Secret and all these other type of things. And I'm like, dude, but you told me you had no money. Mm-hmm. But they in the high-end stores. Yep. And so I'm not lying. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, I thought you said you couldn't afford to go on the trip. That's for people that I want to make sure that if they hadn't had an opportunity, we sent some people, their mom just got laid off. One young lady, her father just passed last year. No problem. I will go to funeral homes and I will tell them, look, you bury our young people, pay for somebody to go on this trip. And they give me $300, okay? I have no shame in my game about that because if they're gonna take money from people when they bury these young people, they need to be able to put something back into the community to do that. So, if you need help to pay for the tour, All right? Did y'all already turn in the things already? Okay. If I do not call your name, but you need help to pay for it, all right, then you need to let me know before you leave today instead of disappearing. Because I done said all of this and give you all this information. You really want to go, you didn't win, and you say, well, I'm out. No, ask for your form back out of the box and everything else. And then from there, put on your need help, and then we'll have a personal conversation with you to see what we can do. But unfortunately, I can't help everybody, all right? And I'll say this with regard to blessing, because we got to the point where we didn't have a lot of young people last time, and the bus last time was, what was that? $6,000 or $7,000?
Yeah.
$6,000 or $7,000 just for the bus. All right? And so therefore, on faith, and so my wife didn't divorce me and everything else, you know, I was like, okay, as long as I get this number of kids to go, then by faith, I'm going to just pay, because it was only a 2-night instead of a 3 day. When it's a 3 day, that means you're spending 2 nights in a hotel. I said, I'll cover all the hotel rooms. So I covered everybody's hotel room for the thing. Do you know I traded in my car from a lease, and they sent me a check back for over that amount. They said your car is in great shape. You know, it didn't appreciate, it appreciated instead of depreciated. Here's a check. But by faith, I said I would pay for it, and God turned around and gave me a check out of the mail that I didn't know where it was coming from, and it covered that whole thing. And that's why I'm still with my wife for 34 years. Praise God. I can only share that on the other side of the blessing. Any other questions? Did I cover it? Did I cover everything for you guys? Any questions?